Hello, everyone. My name is Charmaine. I'm here to talk about domestic violence and how it affected my life, my kids' life, and how I overcame. I first came in encounter with domestic violence when I was 6 months pregnant with my daughter in the hands of their father. Um, he chased me to a field and tried to stab me in my hand with a knife, and then he drugged me from the field all the way to his grandmama's basement when I was 6 months pregnant with my daughter. He held me hostage there where he slapped me in the face with a mop handle and choked me till I blacked out. And when I tried to escape, he pushed me back down the stairs. So I was held hostage with him overnight until the next morning when I took his niece to go get her hair did. So then another encounter came when I was at his house and he didn't want me to leave, so he took my shoes. And when I thought he was gone, I snuck out the back door and hid behind the garage door till I felt like he was out of view. And again, I'm 6 months pregnant, and I ran as fast as I could, 6 months pregnant, till I got to the fire station and I beat on the door for help. And that's when I called my dad and my sister to come get me from the fire station. Months later, I had my daughter, and the abuse didn't stop there. After I had my daughter, he continued. My daughter was 3 months old. My daughter was 3 months old, and I was at his house. And for some reason, he got mad at me for whatever reason I don't know. And while I was sitting there with my daughter in my arm, he stood over me with a bottle of bleach and poured it down my back. At the time, I didn't know how severe the injuries were until I started feeling my back burn and came up out my jacket and my shirt. And as he was walking out the door, I closed the door behind him and locked it and hurried up to call 911. By the time the police came, he was climbing through the window. And the police came and I grabbed my daughter. I ran out the house with no car seat, no jacket, no nothing, no shirt on, and I just threw her in the car in the back seat. And I jumped in the car and I flew to my mama house because my back had at that point had started to burn. So I flew to my mama house with one hand on my daughter so she wouldn't fall out the back seat and drive. And I pulled up to my mama's house, blowing the horn. I kept blowing the horn for my dad to come in and get my daughter out the car. And when he came and got her out the car, he asked me what happened to my back, still not knowing the severe damage that was done to my back. So when I got in the house, um, my brothers and them had seen the damage to my back, and everybody in the house crying. Well, it woke my mom up out her sleep. And when she got up and seen my back, she started crying and grabbed me, and I fell out in my mom's arm. The ambulance and the police came. They rushed me to the hospital where I found out I had first and third degree burns on my back from him pouring bleach on my back. And later found out that he mixed the bleach with rat poison. That's why the burn was so severe on my back. For about a month straight, I had to wear bandages on my back. I couldn't wear no real shirts like that because the stitching was stitching to my back from my skin pulling off my back. Um, Now after this, I found out that I was pregnant with my son. Still, the abuse didn't stop there again. Um, Now I'm pregnant with my son, and he took my car and he grabbed me up out the car and slammed me in the middle of the street where I tore a ligament in my knee. And he took my baby while she was in her car seat and set her in the middle of the street and drove off in my car. So now I'm at the hospital. I had to have a cast on my leg. I was in the cast for about a week or two. And we finally moved into our own. We moved into our own house. And here I am, being about now I'm pregnant with my son, about 7, 8 months pregnant with my son. And he put his hands on me again that day and punched a big hole in the wall. And he left out the house again and unlocked the door behind him, called the police, called my dad. But in the midst of me doing that, me and my daughter was standing in the living room. She was standing in the window, and he took a football or something and threw it at the window, and all the glass shattered and got in my daughter's face. I left and went to my mom's house, and he started torturing my family members, torturing my friends. I moved to Michigan City, trying to start over, and again, while we were in Michigan City, the abuse continued on, where my son was sitting in his car seat in front of the TV. My daughter was sitting next to him. They was watching cartoons, and he took a book and threw it in my son's face. He hit my son in the face with the book, and we got to fight, and he left. So now I fear for my life because I'm out there by myself with just me and my kids. And he left one night. I had my brother and his girlfriend come spend the night at the house because I was scared. And after I had went and fixed my son his bottle, I laid back down and something told me to look up. And when I looked up, he was standing over us while we was laying there asleep, just standing there staring at us. So police came, but the whole time while the police at the house, he's standing somewhere watching my house. Then another incident happened. My brother and his girlfriend at the house again. I goes downstairs to fix my son a bottle, and I feel someone shaking my door knob like they was trying to get in. Or do something at the window, but the window had shattered of him, and we went in the bathroom and locked the door and called the police. So we left my house, and for a whole month straight, I stayed at my mom's house hiding from him. And that whole month while I was hiding from him at my mom's house, he was sleeping in the house next door that it was abandoned, watching to see if I was gonna come out the house or not. So when he couldn't get to me, he went and slashed my sister's tires. He snatched my mom, meet her off her house to have my mom sitting in the dark. And he even went as far as going to bust my friend window out on her kids. And he would do little dumb stuff like leaving something behind to let me know that he had been to the places where I was. Like I was scared to go anywhere because I did not know where he was going to show up at or if he was going to do any harm to me or my kids. So after I hired for him for about a month straight, I decided to go back home. And when I went back home, I cooked my kids something to eat. I set them in front of the TV, and I just took my phone and got to texting everybody that I love them and to take care of my kids and now everything. And I sat down in a chair with the knife on the side of me, ready to commit suicide because he wouldn't leave us alone, leave me alone. By the time I sent all the messages stuff, my phone blowing up. I'm not answering nobody's phone calls. I'm not responding to nobody's text messages. I'm just sitting there. And as I'm sitting there, tears start to roll down my face because I'm thinking like, this man is really going to kill me. But before I let him kill me, I'm going to end it myself. And as I'm sitting there crying, my daughter got up and walked over to me and she wiped my face and said, "Mommy, you don't have to cry anymore," and wiped my tear. And that's when reality hit. But by the time I realized that I needed to be here for my kids, my sister was at my house with the ambulance and the police, and I had went and spent 72 hours in the hospital. They had me on suicide watch, and after that, I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So one day, me and my kids was walking to my mom's house, and I'm walking up, hearing him talking to a friend of mine about me, and me and him got to arguing. We arguing and arguing. So then he slapped me and tried to run. So I took off running behind him. Like, this gonna be the last time you go put your hands on me. So I picked up a tree branch and I threw it at him. And I threw it at him and I'm chasing behind him and he grabbed me and took that same tree branch and hit me in the head with it to where I had to go to the hospital and get 14 stitches in my head. But when I started fighting him back, he didn't want no parts of it anymore. So like I said, it took me 9 years to even get up out that situation, to even feel like I needed to know what was important in my life, which was my kids. I needed to be here for my kids because my kids was all I had and I was all that they had. So I wasn't going to continue to let this man still abuse me. I wasn't going to continue to let him abuse my kids. So for 9 years, I put my kids through pain. I let this man do whatever to my kids, to me, because I felt like I wanted a family because that's what I had growing up. My dad was always there, and I went about it the wrong way. And after I started defending myself, that's when he decided to go a different route. So we stopped speaking for a minute. It took a toll on my kids, especially my son. My son was acting out of school. He didn't understand why this man didn't want to be a part of his life, why he kept disowning him, why he kept saying that he wasn't his, and just treating my son. He gave my son a black eye when he was 5 years old. And for a long time, my son resented him for that. But even after he gave my son that black eye, I still took it upon myself to force my kids to have a relationship with their dad. Up until last year, up until last year, I finally got the apology from him after all these years. Him holding himself accountable for the abuse and the damage that he done to me and my children. So I'm saying to anyone out there that's going through it, to let you know that you're not alone. It's not an easy situation to deal with. It's not an easy situation to get out of. I got out of it on my own. I didn't have no help. I didn't. I tried so many times to get away, but it seemed like the more I tried to get away, the more damage you did to other people. So I'm glad that I'm here today to tell my story. I'm glad that it gave me some relief, and I'm hoping that my story can help somebody else to come out and talk about what they've been through or how can they get out of it, because like I said, it's not an easy thing to talk about. It's not an easy situation to get out of. It's easier said than does, but I'm here and I'm a living proof that it can happen. Thank you for joining my live. See, I couldn't even talk about it without getting emotional. I thought I was over it, but like I said, it's a very emotional subject, and I'm just glad that I'm here to tell my story. Yeah, cool. I was